All right, we are live for our first ever
Woo!
Young Americans Abroad weekly
There
report
we go.
show. You guys know it, you guys love it, and yeah, the first time we're doing it live, Pat. So I guess we should start off like we normally do. My name is Austin,
And my name's Patrick.
and here we are. Yes, so thank you for joining us tonight, guys. Busy weekend abroad, right? Pat had a lot of good performances, a lot of goals, a lot of assists. And like we said last week, we wanted players, riding into that USMNT camp hot, and that's what we got.
Yeah, exactly, Austin. It'll be fantastic. Just to we cover on these weekly reports. Go over the past weekend recaps to even midweek with Champions League, Europa League, I guess Conference League. Now there's so many leagues to keep track of, Austin, but plenty of action for all of our Yanks abroad there. So yeah, some great stories, some not so great, but it's kind of a mix, right? As players gear up, like you said, for this second World Cup qualifier window, which we're all so excited about.
Yeah, and honestly, that comes up this Thursday, so we're really excited to see, how we can respond from that first window because, we all know it was kind of brutal, ended on a high, obviously.
Left us wanting more, Austin.
Exactly. So we get to see that later this week. But yeah, it was good to have, good to watch, our players at their clubs this weekend. Just I don't know, it was a good weekend, right? Had a lot of positive things. Even in MLS, we had some other players score some good goals and it was fun to watch. So I don't know, it's just an all-around great weekend, Pat. It's got me in a good mood.
Yeah, it's perfect. And again, not to harp on it too much, right? But you want that good feeling. You want to feel confident, with your players, right? Especially with Reyna and Pulisic being out, right? You're
Yeah.
hoping for some great momentum as we go in. And again, not to get too far down the line, right? And we'll talk about in our other live stream pregame, but Jamaica, is going through some issues there. A lot of injuries there, and just coaching problems. So for us, right, for our players to really perform with their clubs and ride that momentum high, I think it's going to be a really promising start to this window.
Yeah, I agree. So, Pat, should we get started today and talk about our first player? Got his first goal.
Let's do it. Yeah, that was something. I was actually I didn't catch the goal, but I saw some of the game there. But that is Gianluca Busio there for Venezia. So this past Friday, right? You could say it was a tale of two halves, but arguably one of his best games, right, in the jersey. He started the match and played the full 90, Austin, scored the game-tying goal in a crucial 1-1 draw against Cagliari away. So really, I guess to start the game, right, you could say he was dispossessed, Busio, initially for that counter in the 16th minute or 17th minute or so, which led to a Keita Balde goal. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but for the most part, there was a lot of other defensive errors. It was really disjointed performance by Venezia the first half. So, they were able to change some things around, get more shots on goal, get into the final third there. And then even later in the half, right, they made some substitutions, and Busio actually got pushed up, played higher for the first time this season, Austin, for the team. So obviously he made up for it, right, in the 91st minute. In stoppage time, burst into attack in the final third there, received the ball in the 18-yard box and kind of stopped it right with his right foot and a quick snapshot there, deflected off the defender, and it was beautiful when it went in. Even though it was a deflection, Austin, that's really fantastic for him.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been playing so well for them this season, obviously making the move this summer. The team, hasn't been playing as well, I would say. He's, I guess, their highest rated player on FootMob, which is really impressive in my opinion, coming over, new situation, new club, first time in Serie A in a long time. He's really done a great job this season, just integrating into life abroad and really just, showcasing his talent, right? You saw a lot of highlight videos this week of, his, season so far. And I know we've watched a few of his games, things like that. Yeah, it's been fun to watch him mature and grow. And yeah, excited to see, him also called up in the USMNT camp. So
Yeah, that was awesome. Obviously, Berhalter, I think some quotes came out, right, that he was pretty impressed with Busio's form and just his adaptation over there to Serie A football. So really fantastic to see, right? Because we know, and we talked about it a little bit off camera, right? some of Busio's deficiencies or things that he needs to improve on, I should say. Obviously, strength, defending, some of those areas, especially at a higher level, right, in Serie A. And you can see maybe it's just a small sample size with this game, but slowly, as he's been starting and getting more game time, he's looked really impressive. And just wanted to throw a few stats at you, Austin, in the YAA game here. So I think Brian Scaretta reported 56 to 65 passes completed there. 7 of 12 duels won, and even aerial, I think he won about 75 or 80% of the aerial duels there. So really great to see just some of those stats, and you could see it throughout the game, at least some that I caught. He was really, fluid, calm with the ball, right? His passes and vision was fantastic, played some long looping balls over the top to I think it's one of the Scandinavian, I think he's Norwegian, one of their attackers.
Dennis Johnson?
Yeah, Johnson there.
Yeah, okay.
The Scandinavian. So good connections there. And again, when Cagliari was putting on the pressure, they had a lot of the ball and good portions of the attacking chances, at least in the beginning. Busio was there, in great positions there to intercept, use of strength to shield and body off players. Looked a little more composed in this game. So that's really promising.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's really, impressive too, right? Because like you said, that's the one thing he needs to work on is that, physicality. Like you said, Pat, growing up, hitting the weight room, right?
Yeah.
Hit the weight room. That was always your phrase. Yeah. Weight room. Exactly. But that's what he's done, right? Since he's gone abroad, he's, worked on that part of his game. And, overall, it'll just help him become a better player and, a player that can hopefully play at a higher level than Venezia because, what we've seen this season suggests that. And that's really exciting. Yeah, so I guess now, Pat, we're going to move over to, Germany here and talk about Joe Scally. So Joe Scally had, another great weekend, right? It seems like every weekend this year, he just keeps bettering his performances. And yeah, he honestly is. This weekend, he scored his very first Bundesliga goal. Came off of just some nice work getting behind the Wolfsburg defense on a counter. And just took the ball about, halfway, at midfield and dribbled it right down past the defender and had a nice finish on the goalkeeper to score his first Bundesliga goal. And, after this game was named man of the match, was also named man of the match day for the Bundesliga, which is pretty impressive as a, an outside back, and was also in the Bundesliga team of the week. So again, Joe Scally keeps performing, keeps showing people why, Gladbach paid the money they did for him 2 seasons ago now and getting him from NYCFC. And it was just really fun to watch him in this game. You saw him with that confidence again, right? He's been very confident all season, really not afraid of any challenge he's faced this year. And that was on display again in this game. Started off playing, I believe, right wing back, but then was moved over to left wing back in the second half. So again, you see that, duality, right? You can play 2 positions. Again, Gladbach played with 3 at the back in this game. So it really allowed him to get up the field more. And in those moments where he did do that, he was very dangerous as well. Actually almost scored another goal off of some nice play getting up the field. So really exciting to see, him maturing this year at Gladbach.
Right.
And I'm really just, I'm curious to hear from you, Pat. I'm going to pitch it to you here. What has been most surprising to you about Joe Scally so far?
I think the most surprising thing has just been his integration and rise so quickly into the first team. And obviously there's been some injuries, but even with him getting thrust into the spotlight there, didn't shy away, has looked impressive and just confident. And, you saw Miazga when he moved over. There's other players, right, that when they got some of their chances there initially, and not to knock anyone, right, there was some, Swansea, and just kind of looked overwhelmed, right? What's going on, Tactical? So, they just looked a little bit overwhelmed, right? But Scally did not at all. He's looked poised, composed, eager to learn, and just continues to get better. I think those are some of the most important traits there, and honestly surprised he didn't get called up, Austin.
Yeah, it is interesting. We heard Greg Berhalter talk about him, right, being a player for the future. So definitely think he's on the radar of Greg Berhalter. But yeah, it's really been fun to see him get his opportunity this year, right, Pat? Like he's someone that we didn't really, we saw him as, a U17 player, with some of the other age groups for the U.S. national team. But we really didn't see him play at the club level, right? He played in some like MLS Academy games, was on NYCFC's first team roster, but then moved to Germany and, was playing with their 2 team there, but really couldn't see much footage of him. So it's been kind of, really exciting just to see how much of a polished, prospect he is at this level right now. Cause, he's still in the 18, very young player. That, to me, that's been like the most surprising thing. The fact that we hadn't seen him before this is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know if it's a growth spurt or what, Austin, but he looks like he's like mid-20s. If I didn't know who he was, right, just a fan watching, I would have never known he's under 20. So that's just impressive. And, his physical attributes and how he's able to just shrug veteran players off with ease is definitely awesome to see. And I think that could be really useful against some of these really physical, tough CONCACAF opponents that we play. He has the skill, right, but also the, kind of that Reina mentality, right? Obviously a little bit more quiet, it seems like, but just on the field, right? He's a menace there, and he'll body some players off the pitch.
Very true. Yeah. So now, Pat, do we want to move over to France and talk about our boy Timo?
That's right.
Timo time, right?
Timo time. But yeah, so Austin, Tim, he had a fantastic cameo, you could say, right? Substitute appearance there against Marseille. So him and Conrad both started on the bench, but Timo did play and started against I think it was Salzburg, right? Against Aronson. Tough loss there. So understandable, right? That he was able to get some rest and probably good, right? For the US's sake. But he came on, I think, in the 72nd minute there. Already up. Lille was already up 1-0, and then there's a red card shortly after. But from there on, I feel like Tim could have had 2-3 assists. He made some dynamic runs in the left. I think the first one was a short left, in the left part of the 18 box there. Passed it back across, and it went off the crossbar. I don't know who shot that one. And then another counter. Tim was on the break there, and the play got kind of interrupted with a Lille foul. Tim already played a nice through ball, and that probably would have been assist, I think, to David. And then finally in the 94th minute, right, Austin?
Waited all game, right?
Waited all game. It was a beautiful looping ball to him. I've never seen any pass like that. It was also kind of strange, but he was able to have a nice daft touch, right, to control it. Looked like he was going to lose balance, but fairly being composed and poised enough to make an assist across the box there to David. That CONCACAF connection. Obviously a rivalry, but it seems like they're pretty good bros there on the pitch. So yeah, the nice celebration to make it 2-0. So it's really finding a way to make an impact, as a sub and a starter.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that connection with Jonathan David is something to watch because, those two love to, or, it seems like they love to play with each other. And I don't know, this game really looked like that classic Tim Weah, right? That we saw at Celtic, that we saw, even earlier on at Lille, I guess. Just a player who's not afraid to kind of take the ball and run with it and make something happen. He's kind of playing without that, with like reckless abandon, right? He's not overthinking things. He's just letting the ball and letting play, naturally flow through him. Excuse me. So I was really excited to see that. And Tim Weah is just the king of celebrations, right? Like at the end of that game when Jonathan David scored and he provided the assist, I mean, he was more hyped than Jonathan was. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, that was awesome. And he went over to that Lille fan there and hugged him and just had his fists up, and obviously the celebration at the end. Yeah, it's a whole show. It's awesome. But you can see
he's a hype man.
How much that means to him, right? And it really looks like he's back to full health, in my opinion. Like, obviously, it's nice to see him getting some starts, but also you don't want to see him overworked, especially for these string of qualifier games. I'm knocking on some wood here of a desk, but Tim really looks like he's just so happy. He's back to his full, fitness, physically, mentally, just looks fantastic. And it's a good time too. Lille's starting to pick it up a little bit more. I think they're 8th, but it's a 3 or 4 way tie to 5th. or fourth. They're like only 2 points out of the Champions League spot, so it's really tight up there. At the
And
top.
that's surprising too, because they
Yeah.
started off the season not so hot.
Yeah,
So
I know. We
yeah,
were talking about
seeing
it.
them
It's
claw back
terrible.
yeah.
It was absolutely terrible. So it's great to see them coming to form, Tim and the team rallying together, and this couldn't have come at a better time, right before this Jamaica game here.
Yeah, very true. And obviously with all our injuries, right? Like Tim Weah should be a player that we rely on a lot in this window. Well, I guess maybe I'll pitch it to you, Pat. Do you think we're going to have to rely on Tim Weah, in this camp? Is he going to be one of our key players that we're going to have to, look to have on the field and kind of go through to score some goals?
I would say so, especially if you think of Pulisic and Reyna, right, being out.
Yeah, without them,
those are big factors. Yeah. Obviously, Aronson's been playing well, but you can shuffle around to different areas.
Matt Hoppe, we've got.
Hoppe, yeah, but
our boy.
Yeah, I think Tim's going to be a pretty good difference maker. I don't know if he's going to be a goal machine, right? But depending on the connections there, he just seems like a really selfless player. Obviously, with the connection with David. But if he can get some assists here, if he can get even 1, maybe 2 assists, I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to do that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'm going to be curious to see where he plays, right? We talked about this last episode. Is he going to play as a striker? If we play with 3 at the back, is he going to be one of those 2 strikers up top that we've seen, Greg Berhalter throw out at times? Or is he going to be out on the, right or the left? And it really depends on, I guess, where we're going to play Brenden Aronson, because I think, and we'll get into it a little bit, Brenden Aronson by far should be a starter for us, in some of these games, if not all of them.
What do they call him at Salzburg? The something Messi. I forget that first part.
Oh, the Medford Messi. Yeah. Messi, yes. That started in Philly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Yeah, I think Tim will definitely be someone we're going to have to rely on in this camp, and his physicality, right? He's a player that's rapid with his pace. He really just can blow by people. I'm excited to see if we can get him in situations like that on the USMNT where we can get him out at full speed and kind of take advantage of his pacing, have him get in behind defenses. I know when we're playing against some of these lesser competition teams, right? Some of these teams that aren't the best, a lot of them sit back, right? So it's going to be tough to really do that. But I just think his pace is just gives him that dynamism that we're kind of missing without Christian Pulisic. And then obviously, the close control and stuff like that Gio Reyna brings, Tim can bring some of that as well. So excited to see him in camp, right? See him healthy too again.
Couldn't agree more. So I think it's going to be fun to see some of those US social media posts out, right? You're seeing the reels on Instagram and other things, right? Tim interacting with the boys, just seems like a fun guy to be in camp, right? Obviously, a winner there, has a great mentality, but someone that's just fun to be around, I feel like. So that'll be fun to see some of that stuff come out and get us hyped for the game.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're going to move on to another player today, and one we just mentioned, and that's Brenden Aronson. So, Brenden Aronson had a great game again this week, had an assist for Salzburg and created 5 chances in their game, in the Austrian Bundesliga this week. And Pat, it's just been a great start to the season for him, right? Very confident player, ever since making the move abroad to Salzburg. It seems like it's just all come together for him, and he's been able to kind of just take his game to the next level. Has been able to really prove himself as kind of a workman-like player, right? Someone that's not afraid to press and really prides himself in pressing and just hassling defenses into mistakes and kind of capitalizing and things like that. So in this game, he was up to his normal self doing that, and really just pushing the defense, right? The assist he had in this game came off of him saving a ball from going out of bounds and then pushing it upfield to square the ball across to an on-running Salzburg player who scored the goal. So I don't know. It just it seems like Brenden Aronson's really become a key player for Salzburg, and I don't know, Pat. It's just really exciting to me because that team's reloaded again this year. They got a lot of good players, and he seems to be one of their best players right now. So I just think it's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, again, against unfortunately Tim Weah's team in the Champions League, he looked fantastic. The attacking, I guess, the attacking three or four, right, just looked full of ideas. They're young and energetic, and the combinations they were making. I mean, they have some stars up there too. Some very big future stars, and
Yeah,
it's
they
great
do.
to see Aronson part of that core, right? He looks fantastic. Yeah, I saw some of that Lille, and then I wasn't able to catch this game here, but in the Austrian league, I mean, Salzburg's are in full control. Aronson's just seeing a lot of the ball, right, which is great. I think, especially a player of his style to be part of this team, dominating in the Austrian Bundesliga is fantastic for him. But yeah, I mean, the way he's going, Austin, for club and country, right? Obviously, you see that workhorseman style and kind of finding his fit with the team, right? Looked a little bit. There's some complaints, right, or just seemed a little bit lost for the beginning of that first window of qualifiers for us. But he really just seems to be becoming a star, right here in front of our eyes. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think will he maybe get a big transfer in the next year, depending on how things go? What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I feel like we haven't talked about transfers for Brendan Aronson, so
Yeah,
I'm
kind
happy
of
you
just,
brought it up.
well, we're progressing at Salzburg, but there's got to be a next step.
Yeah, I don't know. I think obviously the natural, and I see Sam just joined the chat here. So what's going on, Sam? Good to see you. Thanks for joining the live today. And I don't know. I think Leipzig would make some sense. They're really trying to figure things out with Jesse Marsch there, right? A little bit of a change up from Julian Nagelsmann. They're trying to work through that. So I don't know. I'm not sure if Leipzig is the best move for him right now. I think anywhere, in Germany, I think his play style really fits a German team. I think he could also do well in England, again, with that pressing mentality, that fast rate of play, right? He's a player that really just likes to go at defenses and, he really goes, full throttle for the whole game. I think he could survive over there in England. But I don't want him to go to a team like Norwich City, right, where Josh Sargent is right now, and kind of get stuck in the, the mud a little bit, so to speak. So
it's a tough team to break in, Austin. I know maybe down the line's a pipe dream, but
okay, let me hear it.
Liverpool supporter, I think he would be a great fit in a Klopp system.
Wow,
but
okay,
very, very tough to break into that team. Because you see Minamino, right? Kind of make that switch over, and he's faded out. But I don't know. Like you said, I think the way Salzburg plays, really, they could be another team in the German Bundesliga, I think, and he'd make a great fit over in some of those teams as well.
Yeah,
maybe Liverpool's too ambitious, but
that would be interesting. Yeah, I think Liverpool would be an aggressive move from Salzburg. But I mean, we've seen Minamino do it to some effect. He hasn't gotten the playing time, I guess, that he probably wanted. Let's hear from some people in the comments. Let's see if you had to pick where Brendan Aronson goes after Salzburg. If he does leave, we think he's going to leave, obviously, at some point in his career. I don't think he's going to be a Salzburg man for life. Where do you think he would go, and what makes the most sense?
Right. Yeah, that's the question, right? I mean, gosh, he's going to outgrow. His progression here is rising.
You could argue right now, Pat, he's already outgrown. But let's see.
I guess you could. I feel like a lot of the Salzburg team, you could say that with some of the competition in the league, it doesn't seem like they're going to lose.
It looks like Sam says here, Leeds United. That would be an interesting team. He also follows it up and says, I think Leeds United for attacking, maybe Southampton if England. So, yeah, two interesting teams. Definitely not Norwich City, right? They're definitely more attacking than that team and doing better than them right now. So, yeah, I think that'd be really interesting. Kind of reunite with another MLS player, Jack Harrison there at Leeds United.
Oh, wow, good shout. I forgot about him. What about Leicester too? I haven't been following Leicester closely, but it just reminded me with the McKennie links a long time ago. That's an intriguing club to me.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I'd actually love to see that. Ooh. Jose says somewhere in Germany, so fair. I think another team like the stature of Gladbach. They're not having the best season right now, but a team like that, maybe Leverkusen, if they had some more space in attack. I know they've got a lot of attackers right now. A team like that would be really, really interesting to me because I think he'd stand out even, on one of those teams that is pretty high up in the Bundesliga. Hopefully would get some Champions League experience as well again, where maybe at Leeds he wouldn't. But hey, he may get paid better at Leeds, so I don't know.
Yeah,
an interesting decision if it ever arose.
You never know. But I think we have another interesting topic, right, Austin?
Yes.
A lot of debate and just the stories coming out, right? Both sides, both nations are kind of sitting right on the edge of their seats. And we're talking about here, Jonathan Gomez there. So
thanks. Good job, Pat.
I almost mixed it up, guys. I'm sorry. I almost
that's foreshadowing. Oh boy.
I hope not. But yeah, obviously the Louisville City outside back there making a good move. He's going to finish out the season, right? He's motivated to win that trophy, right, in the USL, but he's making a big mover there over to Spain. So obviously being linked, right, dual nat to Mexico and the US, and another battle that's going to be tough to win. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Real Sociedad is such a historic club and a really good club in my opinion for a player to be going to. So I think it was great to hear. I know it's been rumored for a little while now, so I don't think it was a shock to either of us. But really exciting. Obviously, he just turned 18. So it's a really big opportunity. It could turn into another situation like we're seeing with Joe Scally, where a player goes abroad, gets some gets an opportunity, gets some playing time maybe this spring or after the summer, whatever it may be, and could kind of force his way into a starting lineup in a La Liga team. That's pretty big. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the move. I think it's a great move, especially from USL, right? It's a growing league. It's not really established yet, so that also helps to build the rep of USL, which I think is always good. And now it comes down to who he's going to play for, right, Pat? And he was just called up to the Mexican U20 team, a team we currently, our U20 team, we currently don't have a coach for. So a little frustrating.
What are we doing? That would have been a perfect opportunity to swoop him in for the other camp,
Right, and he's trained with Mexico's first team as well. So it sounds like right now he's leaning Mexico, which is really concerning because, and again, we talked about this, I think, in our dual net episode, a little bit earlier, this summer, that, he is a player that is an all around left back. He's someone who has, great pace, is a good defender, obviously not his strong suit, I'd say, as a outside back. He's a lot better at getting forward and, creating an attack. And he does that really well. So he's just a player with a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and a position, right, that we don't have too many options at right now. Anthony Robinson's done great recently, and I have some faith in him. But I definitely think that door is not closed just yet, right? And Jonathan's a lot younger than Anthony as well, so just a little concerned, right?
A little, and
happy for him, but concerned for us.
Exactly. And Mexico's starting to be a little bit more in that department, in that area, right? With Julian, some looks like making the switch there, so that's tough.
Yeah,
that's really tough, and they're splitting the battle there. It's tough. Obviously, you could see the pipeline of talent that we have in the depth, but they have a few of these guys, right? If they can pull over some of these dual players. And other ones, right, that are kind of rising up the pipeline, the youth pipeline, they'll be tough, especially from that defensive perspective. They got some good young guns, especially that can swoop up Gomez here.
Yeah, very true. I don't know. Julian Araujo is just really, I don't know, that really just sucks because I feel like we lost him. I don't want to say for lack of us trying, because I do think we tried, but I just go back to him getting called up to the U20 team by Tab Ramos as a substitute, which was, it is what it is. I think at the time we thought he should have been on that full roster. And then, we didn't even play him when some of our players were injured. And I just always look back to that and think that, that had to be such a defeating experience for him, something that should have been such a great moment that was probably kind of soured by that decision, whatever it may be, if it was fair or not. I don't know. I think it was unfair, but it kind of just sucks because Julian Araujo is a great player, a good person from what we hear and things like that. So
and Aronson, just quickly on Gomez, right? And obviously he's still developing, but from the talent standpoint, right, and catching some of the highlights, right? I haven't watched a lot of Louisville, to be honest, right? But so jump in, and if you guys know a little bit more about Gomez's game and Austin.
Well, I was gonna say 2 goals and 7 assists. 7 assists as a left back. That's really impressive.
I think it's the second most in the league, I think, in USL. And he's not even an attacker.
I think so, yeah. Which is really impressive.
Yeah. Just his ceiling is unbelievable, and what he can do, right? The strength and poise he has already. He's so technical, right? Somebody that's able to get involved in the attack, that modern outside back there, bombing up the field, getting in great crosses, pinging balls there in combination, and so technical, right? You can see him kind of float into central parts like you see, Des and some of our other backs do, and just kind of combine with the midfielders. He just offers so much going forward, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I really agree. I see Sam commented here. He said, I think we might lose Jonathan Gomez, but maybe John Tolkien has a lower ceiling replacement. I think John Tolkien's been great so far this MLS season, and is definitely someone that has a bright future. I'm not sure if I would say, I guess he did say a lower ceiling replacement. I don't think he's the same level of prospect as Jonathan Gomez, but definitely an exciting player that looks like he's progressing well there at New York Red Bull. So that's a good shout, Sam. I do appreciate John Tolkien, and maybe that gives him an opportunity coming up to earn some minutes. Yeah, I think even Joe Scally as well, right? A left back.
That's a good shout. Yeah. And it's tough with these prospects, right? And just players in that age, right? Because like we just talked about Scally a while back, or some of these other players that start off high initially, and even back to the Gonzalez, right? That they almost said before, slip up. But it's just tough during that age range, We'll kind of have to see as they progress in their careers, right? It's just a hard age to pinpoint.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're talking about teenagers here, so a lot of things change, at that part of their life, in terms of just, maturing, growing, growing better, growing worse, things like that. It's a very volatile time, right? I also want to throw up a quick question, Pat. I don't want to go away from what we were talking about, but I do think it's a great question here from Sergio. He says, not sure if you guys are discussing the situation with John Brooks, but who do you think Greg brings in as a replacement? So very interesting, because I'm not sure Greg will bring in a replacement, but I think it would be great if he did, just based on our last camp and the run of injuries we had. So I guess, Pat, I'll let you answer that question. If we had to bring in someone to replace John Brooks, who would you want to see?
A clone of Tim Ream. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, that's a good question. I honestly, I don't know if I have an exact answer to that. I think just in terms of playing wise, right? I think Chris Richards has a great opportunity here to start. Obviously, you have McKenzie, very familiar with the system. And then Zimmerman, right, coming in, kind of that veteran presence. But he seems to be kind of on the back end of Berhalter's
and I don't think Zimmerman was called up for this camp. That was just last camp. So
was the last camp? Okay, I thought he was. I thought he was put on there. Yeah. So see, obviously he's on the back end there. But yeah, I think Richards. This is a great time for him to start. But yeah, I don't know about a replacement. You have any names in mind?
Well, I was going to say the man of the weekend, right? Or one of the men of the weekend, Matt Miazga.
That's right.
Been playing well for Alaves. Maybe he would be someone
kind of forgotten to look at from the U.S.
Yeah, that's definitely a name that's gone under the radar, and Greg Berhalter hasn't really relied on him, in a little while now. I can't remember his last call up, to be completely honest. Maybe he was called up for the Nations League. I don't know. It's been a long time, I feel like, since we've seen him, playing consistently for the national team. So, it looks like Samuel here says no replacement, as I just read, but that isn't on Greg Berhalter if he doesn't. Okay, so maybe no replacement for John Brooks, but if not, we've got what I think 4 other center backs in this camp. We've got Miles Robinson, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie, and I guess Tim Ream, right? If you call Tim Ream
yeah, but and then Sergio just put up there
Zimmerman's
too. I think
replacing...
Ream had something, Austin, with his family, some family
okay,
situation.
Gotcha.
So that's why I thought.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm out of the loop. I'm sorry, Pat.
No, that's all right. I thought I was out of the loop. But nonetheless, I just don't. I think Zimmerman's very down the pecking order there. It's going to be tough for him to break in. I was kind of surprised initially for the first window. I thought Greg kind of rated him higher than I expected, and what we kind of saw. So kind of curious on that. I think Richards is really going to seize his chance. So again, I know that's not the answer to that original question, right? Fingers crossed, but maybe a replacement starter. I think it's going to be Richards. I'm excited.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm excited. I think if we could see Chris Richards, finally get that chance to really prove himself and cement himself in the starting lineup, that would be a big W from this camp, no matter, what we do, right? So,
that's right.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I guess now we'll move on to our, final part of our episode that we always do, Pat, right? Our favorite part of the episode. Your favorite part. My favorite part. What is that, Pat?
It's quick kicks, guys. So it's a fun segment, right? We kind of run through rapid fire pretty quick. There's a lot of players to cover, right? A lot of players in different leagues. So anything notable, goals, assists, starts, maybe debuts, right? Just a lot going on with so many players to keep track of. So we just like to do this quick kick segment, right? To highlight, all the performances over the past weekend, or, even the midweek, like I mentioned. There's conference leagues, Europa League, Champions League. Gosh, there's too many to name now.
Youth leagues, right? We talked about some younger youth players. So yeah, I guess I'll get us started for this week, right? We had Chris Richards, who started and played 90 minutes for Hoffenheim in their 3-1 loss to Stuttgart. So happy to see Chris on the field, but not the best week for him.
Yeah, and shifting over to England, not the best week either for Anthony Robinson and his team there, where he went the full 90, but they lost 4-1 against Coventry City there. And they did get a win against Swansea earlier, but that 4-1 loss is pretty brutal.
Yeah, that is pretty brutal. And staying in England, we have one of the left out men, right? And that's Josh Sargent.
Ooh,
so
right.
Josh started and played 89 minutes for Norwich City in their 0-0 draw with Burnley. So good to see him pick up a point because they need as many points as they can after their pretty brutal start to the season. But Josh will have some downtime now over the international window.
Yeah, maybe it'll motivate, fuel the fire, Austin. So
that's what we hope, right?
Heading over to Barcelona with Serginho Dest. Okay, well, let's start, I guess, back. He played the full 90 in a 3-0 loss to Benfica in the Champions League. Pretty brutal start for the Champions League for Barca and the league. And obviously this past weekend, he started and played 86 minutes in the 2-0 loss to Atletico Madrid, who's a great team, but nonetheless, I think Koeman's days are numbered. That team is in serious shambles, so it's just a tough situation.
Yeah, I don't know. That's been, boiling for a while now, right? It just seems like something's got to give. And going over to Italy now, we have Weston McKennie. So back in USMNT camp, excited to see that. But, midweek actually came on and played 14 minutes for Juventus in their 1-0 win over Chelsea. So big win for them, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
They're not having the best season so far in Italy. So getting off to a good start in Europe is, a great win for them and a great, step in the right direction. And then, this weekend, Weston started and played 90 minutes for Juve in their 1-0 win over Torino. So good to see him, getting minutes still. Max Allegri seems to be a little, upset with his performances recently, wants a little bit more out of him. So I think it's good to see him back in the lineup.
Yeah, it's tough. I think he's under the hot seat, right?
Yeah.
For their form. So maybe trying to get the best out of his players and push more. But going to Spain with Yunus Musa, player really excited to see him this camp. Started again and played 85 minutes in a 0-0 draw against Cadiz there. So over the weekend. So that's awesome to see. I'm just really excited, Austin. I know we both are, right? To see
cap time.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And now heading over to Germany, we have Tyler Adams. So Tyler started and played 90 minutes for Leipzig in their 3-0 win over Bochum. Actually played right wing back this game.
Did you say win?
I did say win, yeah. Jesse's job is safe for another weekend. Actually, hopefully the whole international break too, right? Let's hope nothing drastic happens then. And yeah, Tyler played as a right wing back. So interesting to see that again, resurface. But right now, I'm just happy to see them, pick up 3 points. That's the big thing for him and Jesse.
Yeah, no, seriously. And another intriguing player, right? Excited to see how much of an impact he makes. Luca De La Torre.
Mr. Film editor, right?
Film editor and pro soccer player. A man of many talents. Started and played 90 minutes in a 3-2 win against Willem. So, again, a lot of people are kind of on that Luca De La Torre train. Excited to see if it takes off.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in camp. I think he's earned it over the past, year and a half, the way he's been playing and, challenging himself. So, yeah, definitely well-deserved call. Going to Argentina now, we have a player that is really starting to make a name for himself and someone that we'll have to keep an eye on more, and that's Alan Sonora. So Alan started and played 75 minutes and had 2 assists in Independiente's 3-3 draw with Vélez Sarsfield this weekend. So, big performance from him. Looks like a really, dynamic player, someone who, is good at creating things for his teammates and also just, being in and around the box in the right situations to, capitalize as well and score some goals. So definitely a player to keep an eye on. And we hope to talk about him more here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, he's making some waves. Definitely someone we all need to keep your eyes out on.
For a pretty good team, too.
Yeah,
Independiente is not a bad team. So
yeah. And definitely need to get around to watching them more in that league, and that haven't paid too much attention to a lot of the games there, but definitely a player we have to check out more.
I think their games are streamed on Paramount Plus, if I'm not mistaken.
That's perfect.
I think. I don't know. Now I'm starting to second guess that after I said it.
Check that out. If anyone else knows, let us know.
Yeah, listen in the comments.
But heading over to France with Conrad de la Fuente there for Marseille. So this past weekend, he was in the 18, didn't play in that 2-0 loss to Lille, but he did play 11 minutes as a substitute against Galatasaray there in a 0-0 draw. So obviously kind of cooling off a little bit, hoping he can get more game time as we go here. And then obviously you could say he might have been a snub for this qualifying cycle for the U.S.
Yeah. Going over to England now, we have Philerin Balagoon, who scored 2 goals for Arsenal's U23s in their 3-0 win. So good to see Philerin, not necessarily getting the game time we thought this year for Arsenal's first team, but still producing at the youth level, always good. So yeah, glad to see that.
Yeah. Hopefully Musa can recruit him over there.
That's right. That's the hope.
The hope.
Arsenal lad. Yeah.
And then heading, I guess our last player for Quick Kicks, right? One of the Scottish Yankees now, Cameron Carter-Vickers, played 90 minutes in a 2-1 win against Aberdeen, and I believe there was a player who just made a move over to Aberdeen, who's an attacker.
Christian Ramirez.
Yeah, that's right. So that's intriguing. Some other players in Scotland doing well, but it's great to see CCV getting a lot of action in game time, and another center back maybe that could be knocking on the door.
Yeah, really interesting. Celtics has fallen off a little bit from where they were, right? Yeah. Hate to say it, just being honest here. So really will be interesting to kind of see what season Cameron Carter-Vickers has and if that can help him, like you said, propel himself into that conversation. The good thing is we're getting, more center back options and more players are playing at, higher levels, in my opinion. So always helps us out, right? Like always good to have a player playing for, one of the best teams, if not the best team in its respective league.
Absolutely.
It's very, very good. So yeah, that's all for Quick Kicks today. And, that's all for our episode today, guys. So make sure, when this video comes out, like it, subscribe to our channel down below. Thanks for joining the live stream today. Our first ever one, right, Pat? So
the first for the weekly report,
at least.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to do. And then make sure to check out Austin killing it on Instagram, putting out some great content for you guys. So be sure to check that out. Twitter as well. Put up the occasional crazy tweets and banter and things like that. So definitely want to check out the social media content, as we get closer, especially to this Jamaica game.
That's true. And we're going to be live streaming before that game. I think we're targeting 6:30 If it's already not scheduled on our channel, it's going to be soon. So make sure you hit that notification bell, right, and keep a lookout for that. We'll get you all ready for watching that game. And we're going to do. I think we've gone pregame, right, Pat? We did postgame basically last window. We did 2 postgame, 1 pregame.
Yeah,
we really enjoyed the pregame more.
We won, so I think it's pretty good luck, I could say, right? Again, I'm knocking on more wood, but maybe we should just keep doing pregame, get everyone excited,
That's it then. Yeah, that sells it then. We have to do pregame then going forward. But that's our plan. So we had fun. It was a great time, wasn't it, Pat? Just answering some questions, looking ahead at the game. So make sure before that game, come check us out, and just come hang out. We went through a lot of questions and comments and got some people involved in the stream and stuff. So it was a fun time. So
definitely want to hear you guys, more interaction there. Keep the questions coming, especially for this game against Jamaica, the pregame. I know we'll both be really excited, and really it's just fun to hang out. Obviously there's some nerves and pressures, right? But it's all kind of building up to that one final thing, right, Austin? I know you love how to end the show, right? But we're just getting hype. We're building something beautiful here and special with all the talent we have, because one day we're gonna lift that trophy.
That's right. That's our goal, and that's what we're gonna do. So one day, guys, we will win the World Cup. And thanks for joining today. See you guys. Bye.